So, if you went to the website, you have, kind of the things here to find out what it's about, how it works. Then you'd have a list of the projects. If somebody clicked on this, that would open up to a new window. Would have an image, have the project description here. And then down here it would have the roles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And you read what roles the project's looking to fill. So somebody that finds out about this, social cultural networking in the arts. The idea of it is actually different from what's conventional volunteerism. Like this would be something that somebody's like, I want to do something new, I want to try something new. Maybe I'll join a health club, maybe I'll go join something else. When people think of joining things or doing things to try something new, well, if this can get spun to be a new form of social networking, to be a new form of like a social club, like I was reading about Danish culture, I think it is, and how culturally, I haven't been there, I could be wrong, but from what I read, such a huge percentage of the population is, they're involved in some kind of social club, that people have ways of interacting socially. And I feel like in the States, that's really broken down probably over such a hyper-individualistic culture and such a consumer market-based culture. A lot of the ways of community building and social, civic convening is broken down over time. And I think a lot of people are hungry for that. There's a movement to reclaim public space now. It's about trying to create space for civic engagement, participation, and so on. So if somebody says, I want to try something new, I hear about this, they go to the site, they can scroll through the projects, find one they're interested in, and they say, I like this project. And then they can look at the roles to see what they would be interested in doing. Right? And this is where the roles, you can get even creative. It's not just simply, I need an editor, I need a social media person. Well, if we're going to organize kind of through dinner parties, maybe I need somebody that loves to cook food, or that wants to be like a host. Sometimes there's people that just love to talk something up and make a room flow, and cook food. So you might list something like that as one of your, because it's not just about getting the project done, but it's also how do I build a sense of community and connection between these people who participate. And so the person goes here, they select a project, they select a role, then they contact, down below will be the contact person for the project, and contact that person directly, and essentially apply for that role. And then that's where the artist selects the people from their team, puts the team together, calls a dinner potluck party. Work, this is where work and pleasure, work and play really kind of mix type of model. And that's how it starts out. First, individually, each project, the part of it is trying to get rid of a hierarchical system. This is more decentralized. The idea is each project is its own entity. They're working, it's up to you to organize your own, I'm not going to call together your dinner party for your team, or it's up to her to organize her own team. But then collectively we come together for these mixers, the larger convening. So this is like 5 projects, so imagine we're just starting with 12, 13 projects. So imagine 12, 13 projects with their teams and then inviting a friend. And it's sort of playing like with the social media networking thing, friending friends and such, right? So you have your team members invite a friend. A friend that's coming to the dinner party or to the mixer might very likely have the response of being like, wow, this is exciting. I just met so many interesting people tonight, so many interesting projects. I want to get involved in one of these projects, right? So it has this kind of mushrooming effect. And if you look a little bit long-term on it, is that hopefully what happens is that any one of these people here, gets inspired, say they're doing this for a year, and then they go off and they start their own project. So it's not just simply to say, okay, these people are going to serve this project to make this project happen. they're taking oftentimes administrative roles, but the creativity of that process and being involved in it is such that it's like it sparks your creative engine, and you start getting your own ideas. And now you say, well, I've been working with this project, and this gave me a whole idea of how I could do this over here. It's my own idea, and I want to do it with my friend, and we're going to create, our own thing, put it on the itch website, or right? You get the sense of how it can kind of mushroom out like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had, it might be jumping the gun, but I was wondering if you had an idea of the process of how other ideas, other projects would be kind of assimilated. Yeah.
Since this is like a piloting of it,
yeah.
When I first did it, I was, thinking big. I'm like, just go national with this, and create a whole friending website thing. And my friend Caleb's like, why don't you just start small? Just pick a few projects, pilot it. So that's what we're doing now. And so I've selected different project leaders that I have past experience with that we can create a degree of consistency. So when the public does respond, that they're not going to be like, yeah, I saw this article, it was really exciting, then I called like 3 projects and nobody called me back, and it seems all disorganized.
So Todd, there's tools available for this, right? So in terms of communication.
Yeah. What I would say is starting simple right now.
Sure.
I wanted to get this going now. I don't know all the different tools. I know there's people out there that know how to make this happen better technically online. Outside of for it to really scale up, of course, would need a really savvy interface, web interface that's pulling from the many different things that are out there. I don't have that technology personally, and I also don't want to get hemmed in by it at this early stage of piloting. Sometimes what happens is depending on who's in the room and having a conversation, all of a sudden the conversation can go over here and get all tech heavy, right? And I'm actually intentionally keeping it people-centered first. With the piloting, really, it's about a certain quality of feeling and intention in these projects and what we're doing that will create the right flavor of it. I think if anybody's been out, has anybody been out to the MAP, Mission Arts Performance Project? So that was something that took shape as a very unique kind of community-based art walk of sorts, but I see it as being very different from most art walks. But when you start something like that, it's the intention and the feeling of what you're starting from really sets the tone for everything that comes afterwards. And sometimes that gets derailed by the need for funding, by the need for greater technology, by the need for all these things. Then you have to get a specialist for this or for that, and then it's all of a sudden the conversation's on that. And then because the conversation gets about that, other people go away that would stay otherwise if it was more accessible to them. So I feel like eventually what I hope is by creating something that's really dynamic, people dynamic, that it will attract the right people that actually have the technology and that really fundamentally get the concept, and that will have its own natural